technical issues and still it is not working out. So we won't be able to show you the video. Okay, so we are just continuing without the video because time factor is also important. A lot of time we have already wasted on working on it. Okay, so let us continue with it. So we have already seen that this success, whenever we say, it is not final, and we need to learn certain skills which are very important for our lives. Okay? So today's topic is building resilience in students. We know that our students of this generation, they lack this very much. So we will be first of all discussing and understanding the meaning of resilience. What does it actually mean? It is the capability of a strained body to recover its size and shape after deformation caused especially by compressive stress. So whenever there is a stress, what will happen? There will be deformities. The stress will lead to deformities. But if there is a capability of this body, a strained body, to recover from it is called as resilience. We can just take the example of a simple rubber band. Okay, if we stretch this rubber band, you can see this, if you all can see this rubber band, if we just stretch it, this is under stress. We consider ourselves to be like this, we are stressed, and when we leave it, it comes back to its own shape. It has come back to its original shape. So this is what is called resilience. Let us see who is a resilient person. When we talk about a resilient person, is someone who has strong coping skills and is able to marshal their available resources, ask for help when needed, and find ways to manage situation they are facing. One important thing that we find here is ask for help when needed. This is very important, that sometimes our students feel not like taking off. Okay? They do not want to take help from others. So a person must ask for help whenever needed. Next. There are 4 principles of resilience, and these principles we need to build up among our students. Okay? These are the principles that have to be built up among our students, and all these principles are very general. We as adults have been practicing, but sometimes it minuses, it goes away from ourselves also and from the students. Students have to understand it well. The first principle is gratitude. What does it mean? We all know very well. I would like one of you to kindly stand up. Jyoti ma'am, please read the meaning of gratitude. Thank you so much. So the feeling of being grateful, or we want to give thanks to people who have helped us. Okay, so this is called as gratitude, and this we need to develop among students. Do we feel that it is there in our students' teachers? Do they say thank you always? Do they always feel grateful? Somehow I have felt, and you all also must have felt, that this need to be developed. This is missing from many students now. The second one is compassion. All of us know what is compassion. It is understanding somebody who is suffering. This I find, and we are lucky enough that this generation has compassion. I have observed this in my class always, and in other classes also, in other lower classes also. I have observed this in junior classes also. We have seen this, that this sense of compassion is there. Further, we need to develop. They have that, they feel that my friend, the friend who is sitting beside me, or the friend who is in the class, anybody, they are suffering or they have a pain, and they talk about it. Okay, they try to help them out. The third one is acceptance. Very important to build this among the students as what is the meaning of acceptance? A general agreement. What is that general agreement? The general agreement is that something is true, reasonable or cannot be changed. So this is a general acceptance that has to be taught to the students. That you should know that you need to accept this. You cannot change this and you have to accept this. This is a general agreement that has to be inculcated, that has to be built up among our students. The next one is forgiveness. Of course, it is very important. Our students must learn this, must learn to forgive others. Okay? And what is it? That is to let go of resentment and anger. Because here we need to control our anger. For forgiveness, we need to control our anger. So this is required in today's world, especially when we see our teenagers. What do we find in our teenagers? They get angry, isn't it? They get angry very easily. And therefore, it has to be controlled. It has to be taught to them that you need to forgive your friends, forgive others for their mistakes. And the act that hurt or offended you might always be with you. Next. Now let us see the examples of resilience. There are a few examples of resilience. Means in a resilient person, we will find these features. We will find these characteristics in a resilient person. In the behavior, in the overall conduct of a resilient person, we will always find these. Let us see what are the examples of resilience. One of you, I would request Priyanka ma'am to kindly read the first one. That is, please read out the first one. On situations. So trying to take positive perspective on situation. What do you feel, teachers? Do our students always take positive perspective on situations? No. Sometimes they do not take positive perspective on situations. Even if sometimes when we tell them something, they do not accept it positively. They take it in a negative manner. They take it in a negative way. So they have to take positive perspective on situations. That means if this is the situation with me, there is something positive behind it. If I have been scolded, there is a positive reason behind it. Okay, I need to learn this. So that positive perspective of situations has to be taken. The second one, please, Deepa ma'am, please read out the second one.
Visualizing challenges as learning opportunities.
Visualizing, thank you ma'am. Visualizing challenges as learning opportunities. How many of us visualize challenges? Challenges means basically problems that we face in our everyday life. We need to visualize them. We need to think about those challenges. In which way? We need to take it as what? Learning opportunities. That means if I have this challenge, this is a new opportunity that I have. I am going to learn we can say that by facing that challenge, by taking up that challenge, I am going to learn something new. A new opportunity will come to me and I will be moving out, I will be moving in a positive direction. I will be learning a lot of new things if I take up this challenge. So this is next one. And
गौतम सर मेरा फोटो खींचे हम आपसे पढ़ा रहे हैं.
The next one is regulating emotions on our own. We need to control, we need to have control on our emotions. Very important for our students nowadays, where they are generally not able to control their emotions. And the fourth one is just related to it, which is expressing feelings in appropriate ways. Generally, they do not know how to express their feelings. Whatever feelings they have, they are not able to express it appropriately. So this also has to be taught to our students. Another one is another example of a resilient person. Let us see, this is very important and we find this in many people. Not among the students, but we will find this in many people around us. And what is it? Focusing on things that you can control. What are we focusing on? Things that are under our own control. Instead of dwelling on what you cannot change. So this is again very important, and this we find in many people who are around us. And what do we call them? They are resilient people, because they simply focus on what is under their control. If something is not under their control, they will not talk about it because they cannot change it. If they can change it, well and good. They should go for changing it. But if they cannot change it, they can leave it. Next, please. Okay. Now we deal with 7 C's of resilience. There are 7 C's, that means there are 7 features of resilience, and again to be inculcated among our students. The first one being confidence. So to become a resilient person, you have to be very confident. We all know the meaning of confidence. You all can read it out on your own. And what is it? The belief in one's own self. And when we have this belief, what are we going to do? We are going to try harder to achieve our goal. When we have this belief, we will have less fear of failure. So that confidence should be always inculcated among students. And one very important thing about confidence, one very positive aspect of confidence is that they will rebound from failure. If our students are confident, they will obviously rebound from their failure. So that they must understand. Next is competence. Here we have to be very careful, because we always talk about questions. We say our students that now your questions will be competency based questions. So what is this competence, and where we teachers, as teachers, where do we make mistakes? Sometimes we make mistake here when we talk about competence. First of all, let us see here. Adults can teach and model effective competency. We can listen to them as they work through solution to problems. So what are we supposed to give to our students in the class is problems, challenges, certain situations we are supposed to give them. When we give them some situations, we are supposed to look after their work. We need to support them. In the classroom itself, we can give this. We need to support their ability to manage their peers. Then we have to talk with them instead of talking at them. This is again important. And on the other hand, now let us see this part, which is very important. On the other hand, we undermine competence by telling our children what to do. That means in advance, we give solution to our students. Okay, we don't wait for their solution. We ourselves give solution to our students. That this is the answer. This is how you can do this work. Okay, we do not wait for their solutions. We do not give that much of time. We do not have that much of patience also, we can say. We do not wait. Okay, if we have given them some work, if we have given them some problems, some challenges, so they need to work on it and they will themselves find out solutions. So what do we see here? We see here that we undermine the competence by telling our children that what do we do, or by talking to them in a way that shuts down their ability to come up with their own solutions. So when we are providing them the solutions, will they ever come up with their own solution? It's not possible. It's very difficult that they will come out with their own solution. Next is connection, and connection is what? Simply human connection. We need to make our students understand that connection, they have to stay connected. What kind of connection? Human connection. This human connection is always going to help the students in both the cases. What are both cases? We can see here. One is to fully celebrate during joyous times. Of course, our connections will be there, and with those connections, with those people, we are going to fully celebrate our joyous times. But also, to recover during challenging times, we need connection. So we need to make our students understand that stay connected. You need to stay connected, you should have lot of connections, and of course nowadays our students have this skill, have this ability, and they stay connected. But they need to stay connected not only with their friends but elders also. So this is again a very important skill that is required. Next. This is character. Here again we need to be very careful. We all understand the meaning of word character, but here why do we need to remain very careful throughout our classroom or wherever we are dealing with the students? Why do we need to be very careful here? See what is written. Adults must notice and nurture children's inherent character, strength, and teach and reinforce others. We also must never forget that our actions speak so loudly that sometimes our kids can't hear a word that we are saying. Very important, and this is the situation, this is the condition of many classes where one whole chapter is completed. We are talking about not only, let us not talk about only a chapter what is there in a book. One whole thing is completed. We tell the students about it, some set of moral values we give to our students, but do they listen to us? Have they understood that? No. Why? What has happened here? What have they done? Students can't hear a word that we are saying. Why? In other words, they are watching. They are not using this capability. What are they doing? They are just watching us. Ma'am has told this is right, this is to be done. But under these conditions, what ma'am is doing? What is her action? So they are simply watching us, and in that case, are they going to follow us? Not at all. If we are wrong, they will not follow us. They will simply follow us if we are right. So therefore, it says that we must uphold those character strengths that we hope to see in them. So whatever we hope to see in our youngsters, in our students, those character strengths, we need to uphold in ourselves first, in our own conduct first. Those have to be upheld, and you must have noticed these things in your class or in different situations in your life. This is contribution. Contribution means here simply joy of giving. Our students must know what is the joy. They must understand what is the joy of giving. Once they understand the joy of giving, that means we are giving something out of pleasure and we are happy to give this. This our students have to understand. Why they need to understand that we should be happy to give this. This is the joy. Okay, why they have to understand this? See here, because one more thing is related to it. They learn first hand of the joy of giving. This means that ultimately when they need to receive from others, they can do it without shame. I have told you in the very beginning, okay, people, the students, they feel ashamed. Why should I ask for this? I have this and okay, this is all, this is sufficient. I am not going to ask for this from others. Why is this feeling in them? Because they have not understood what? They have not understood that there is a joy in giving. The other one, if the other one is giving, the person is giving you something out of pleasure, not out of pity. Okay, so this they must understand that this is to be given. Whenever we are giving something to others, it is with pleasure, with happiness. So this is joy of giving that we have to understand, and this is called contribution. Next. The sixth one is coping. And here, what do we know here? That we need to tell our children, keep telling our children what not to be, what not to do, which barely makes an impact. See here, very important again. When we ask them to cope up with different situations, all of us know teachers that always comfortable situations can't be there. Like just for example today, there were certain videos, okay, that I had to show you, very good videos, very nice videos that I had to show you, but there are some connection problems, some issues, and therefore it is not working here. Later whenever I get a chance, I'll show you those videos. So what are we talking about? Are we always in comfortable situations? No. The situation, there can be discomforts in our life. And same way, there can be discomforts in our students' lives. So what do we need to do? We have to cope with those discomfortable situations also. Here, what is very important? See here, there are some backfires. What is this? If we tell our students, you have to do this, you are not supposed to do this. Do they accept it easily? No. They will not accept it. There will be backfires also on us. Instead, when we raise them with a range of healthy coping strategies and model them as well, we also need to model them in classroom situations, coping strategies. Things are not right. Okay, in the classroom also, if the things are not right, we want to show something on the white screen, okay, on the smart board, it's not working. Suppose it's not working. So we need to, are we going to get angry in front of students? No. Okay, it's not working, later we will see this. Okay, so things are not working properly, situations cannot be comfortable always, so we have to model it ourselves. We need to model those coping skills ourselves. They make wiser, healthier choices during challenging times. Next. Another C is control. Whenever we talk about control, what do we say? We should control our children, we should control our students, we should have lot of control on our students. And what do we do? How we have, what was our upbringing? We were controlled by our parents. What did they used to tell us? Okay, just see the difference in difference of those days and the present day. What is it? Our parents used to tell us, see, you will do what I say because I said so. Did we used to question our parents? Never. Because I said so we have to do. That was those days, okay? But now if we are going to say this, we will be wrong. We need to change ourselves. We cannot say because our parents used to do this, we are also going to say like this to our children. Okay, what is this? See here, young people raised being told, you will do what I say because I said so. Do not learn how to make their own choices. Will they learn to make their own choice in this situation? No. Times have changed. They have to make their own choice. So therefore, they should be made to learn that they have their own control on their lives. We need to leave them free. You are free to decide. We will not control you. Okay, if they are going in a wrong direction, of course we are always there. But otherwise, we need to leave them free. If we say that only I have said this, follow this. No, they will never accept it. And what will they lose here? They will never learn to make choices if we do so. So these are the 7 C's of resilience. Now it's an activity time. So I hope all of you have a paper and pen. So kindly be ready with it. Take out. We have discussed certain things now, and you are supposed to write a few points on what we have done. See here, you see there are two groups. One is things I can work on. That means little bit you have to think on yourself, about yourself, and you have to write a few things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can write 5 things that you can work on, and you can write a few things that I must let go of. Before starting, we should be also doing this with our students. We should give them time to think about themselves, to introspect, so that they can also decide that there are certain things that I must let go of. Kindly write 3, 4, 5, whatever you wish, like number, the things that you can work on, means you can make changes to those things, and the things that you must let go of. So please start. I am giving you 4 to 5 minutes for this. Please start. After completing it, you can, without writing your name on the paper, you can give it to anyone you wish to. You can pass your paper to anyone you wish to without writing name on the paper. So teachers, please start.